Joseph Benavidez versus Deiveson Figueiredo takes place in the main event of UFC Fight Night 169 on ESPN Plus 27, Norfolk, Virginia, for the flyweight championship of the world. I'm looking forward to this fight. I'll be honest with you guys, this isn't the most anticipated title fight of my entire life. It's hard to sell midgets, mainly because it's illegal in real life, but in terms of like a sport, you can't sell that. Like, they're 5'3", I'd beat the shit out of them, and I don't care what anyone says. I'm 6'3", I'd throw them out the fucking cage. However, interesting fight, and they're good for dwarfs. I like them. They're very good for dwarfs. We've got Joseph Benavidez on one side. For a dwarf, fucking Megan O'Leary, he's at least 6'5". Mentally, he's 6'5". Like, if you're with Megan O'Leary, I don't care how short you are, you're rapidly growing in multiple ways, you know? Sometimes in the bedroom. Anyway, Joseph Benavidez. Great. I think he's going to win the fight. There's not really much to talk about here. I know Deiveson Figueiredo is a very good talent. 17-1. His only loss in the UFC coming to Jose Formiga. We've seen what happens when Joseph Benavidez fights Jose Formiga. He beats him fucking twice for good measure. You know what I'm saying? In the same way as well. TKOs him. He's a very good fighter, Joseph Benavidez, and I don't think he gets enough credit. You're talking about a guy who has a win over Henry Cejudo. You know? And that was Henry Cejudo after the flyweight title loss to Demetrius Johnson. So before you tell me, oh, it was a different Cejudo. No, it wasn't. Like, Cejudo made the drastic changes after the Demetrius Johnson fight. He came into the Benavidez fight as the man he is now, with that style and that body type. Like, he was a little bit soft in the Demetrius Johnson fight. He looked way more ripped against Benavidez. Still lost. That was after the Ultimate Fighter as well, where they were talking back and forth. I feel as though Benavidez is going to win a title, and I know there's been a lot of talk about, is Benavidez still hungry? I feel like he is. I feel like he is still hungry, and to be honest with you, he hasn't lost a fight in my eyes since his loss to Demetrius Johnson in the first round by KO. He's lost twice. By the way, the first time was a split decision. Just to mention what we're dealing with here. You know what I'm saying? He's beat Henry Cejudo. He's gone to a split decision with Demetrius Johnson. Fair enough, he got KO'd afterwards, but either way, he's then gone on to beat Tim Elliott, Dustin Ortiz, John Moraga, Ali Bagwatinov, no idea who that is, Zach Makovsky, I know that, Henry Cejudo by split decision. Then he lost to Sergio Pettis, which I didn't agree with whatsoever, to be honest with you. I've rewatched that fight recently, just in preparation for this one. Benavidez won that fucking fight. He won the last two rounds very clearly, in my opinion. Sergio Pettis dropped him in the first, but nothing happened, and it wasn't a 10-8 round. Somehow, the judges gave it to Sergio Pettis. Either way, I thought Benavidez won that one, and in my opinion, he's undefeated since 2013, wiping out everyone, and since the Sergio Pettis loss even. Gets right back in there, beats Alex Perez. Good contender, beats Dustin Ortiz again for the second time. Decent contender, beats Jose Formiga. Top contender for the second time. Like, he's done it so nice, he has to do it twice to steal a phrase from Anthony Joshua. Like, he's been through all these guys in the division, but that's not quite enough for him. You know, he needs to beat them twice in order to feel good about himself. He might be sick in the head, to be honest with you, this Joseph Benavidez character. Either way, I understand that Deiveson Figueiredo, if there's going to be a guy that might pull off an upset, it's probably going to be Figueiredo in that flyweight division, because if there's one thing we're not used to seeing in the flyweight division, it's knockout power. Figueiredo has it, you know what I'm saying? You've got 17 wins, 8 of them by KO. If I read you that statistic in any other weight division, oh, he's got 17 wins and 8 of them are by TKO, he's crazy, he's got knockout power, you'd laugh in my face. In flyweight division, that's a good percentage, to be honest with you. I mean, you're talking Joseph Benavidez got 28 wins, and he's only got 8 of them by TKO as well. 11 wins less for Figueiredo, and he's got the same knockout percentage. 47% of his fights. That's a good number. That's a good statistic to have. And even in some of his decisions, like against Alejandro Pantoja just 2 fights ago, like, he rocks guys and drops them. Like, he's a very hard hitter. And Benavidez has been KO'd before in his career. So I do worry about that. Plus, he is getting up there in age. But I feel like the hunger. Let me get back to this point real quick, because that's where I began. Where am I? Where am I in this conversation right now? Either way, back to my original point that I made 3 minutes ago. He's not lost his hunger, I don't think. A lot of people say that he's been around and he's maybe not got the hunger in him anymore. He's been around, never won the belt. I feel like he's still got it in him that he wants to go out at least with the belt around his waist. Because listen to this. Joseph Benavidez's mind, he wins the belt, he can consider himself better than Henry Cejudo. Like, if Figueiredo wins the belt, there's still going to be questions about the flyweight division. Figueiredo lost to Formiga. You know, Formiga's lost to Jose Benavidez. And then Cejudo's a looming figure. Like, when a guy leaves a division for a vacant title to be had, the champion who takes that belt is never really considered the champion. Like, DC, for example, is a perfect one. Whittaker had a bit of problems until he fought Romero and gained everyone's respect because of how tough he was. Like, he had some problems because he never had that unification belt. You know, he had the interim belt and he never got to get it off of George St. Pierre. Same reason, again, George St. Pierre fucked over welterweight as well. For a while, people were, Robbie Lawler, Johnny Hendricks. I mean, you know, GSP was the champ and he's just left the division now. So are these guys even champions? And it took a while for people to come around. But with Benavidez, he's in a very unique situation where he's beaten Cejudo. So if he's the champion at flyweight and he has a win over Cejudo, by the way, just 5 fights ago in 2016, he has every right to say, I'm the best flyweight in the fucking world, regardless of who left the belt behind. He left the belt behind because he didn't want none of me. That's an argument that Benavidez can have. I feel like he's hungry. He's got to get the belt before his career is over. Figueiredo on the other side of things, of course. This is a perfect opportunity for him. I think it's a tough road back to the belt if Figueiredo loses this one, which I think he will. I could see Benavidez finishing him in the 3rd or 4th round, because one thing that Figueiredo never has, and no flyweight contender will ever have, other than a very select few, is 5-round experience, because they're just not main events. You know, like Benavidez has some 5-round experience because he's fought for world championships before. You know, he's gone 5 rounds with Demetrius Johnson. He's gone 5 rounds with Dominic Cruz by split decision as well. Holy shit, I didn't remember that one. I remember him fighting Cruz, but I remember he got dominated. Oh yeah, that was the first time. There you go. A 3-rounder. He got beat unanimously. Okay, that makes more sense. I forgot about the rematch. Jesus. Anyway, yeah, I think Benavidez wins this one, man. I think he gasses him. Everything seems to be in Benavidez's favour. He's a little bit shorter, but he's way more stocky. He's a lot stronger. If Formiga can out-wrestle Deiveson Figueiredo, then Benavidez can out-wrestle Deiveson Figueiredo. And I know you're going to tell me that MMA math doesn't work, but with wrestling, it generally does. Like, if you see one guy ragdoll this person, you can assume they're going to ragdoll another person. You know, like when Usman ragdolls RDA and Colby ragdolls Maya, or no, when Colby and Usman out-grapple Maya, you can assume they're probably going to do RDA in similar fashion. You know, like everyone was picking Usman and Covington to win those fights, I feel like. Unless you picked RDA in that fight, in which case you are fucking beyond retarded. But either way, yeah. Benavidez is going to win. I think he'll finish Figueiredo in the 4th round. I like Deiveson Figueiredo, I really do. I think his fight with Formiga was very good. He showed some promise. He also has some space to grow as well. He's the younger guy. However, wow, his gym name is Figueiredo Team. Very original. I want him to lose even more. Oh, and then I see his team name. Team Alpha Male. But he doesn't train there anymore. He trains in Vegas. Either way, I think Benavidez is going to win this one. He's faster, he's more accurate, he's more skilled, he's got better wrestling, he's got more options, he's got 5-round experience, he's stronger, he's bigger for the weight class, he cuts a lot more weight. That might be a problem with a guy who hits as hard as Deiveson Figueiredo. If you want to make a decent underdog bet, go ahead and pick Deiveson Figueiredo by KO, but however, I will warn you, there seems to be a level of competition where Figueiredo just can't put the finishing shot on the button anymore. You know, like he can hurt Pantoja. He can hurt Formiga. You know, he can hurt some of these other guys. But when it comes to like the Moragas and the Moraleses and the Brooks and the Beltrans, you know, like that's when he can find the finishing shot. I feel like we've seen Figueiredo's limits. I feel like Benavidez could be the champion for some time at flyweight. I still consider Benavidez on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 win streak, if you include the Sergio Pettis bullshit robbery that they had. I think he's going to win. I think he's hungry. He's coming back. He's healthy after a much long... Wow, I'm really fucking up. He's healthy after a long time out due to injuries. And I feel like he's coming back nice and healthy. 35 years old. If he wins the belt, he can go out on top because he has a win over Henry Cejudo. That's the career move. He's going to come in hungrier than ever. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't understand what's going to go on. To be honest, it'll probably be better if Figueiredo wins. When you really think about it, It'd be much better if Figueiredo wins because he'll stay around. Like, we don't know what Benavidez is going to do. Benavidez might get the belt, call out Cejudo, and if he doesn't respond, leave. I've called him out, doesn't want it, I'll go. I've already beaten him. That's what Benavidez might do. I'm just going to fucking live in Megan O'Leary's guts for the rest of my life. Who knows, to be honest with you. Good on him. I really do credit that. Jesus. But yeah, Hutier Formiga would probably be... No, Deiveson Figueiredo would probably be the better guy to have as a champion. He'd be 18-1. If he beat Formiga, then he'd be undisputed at the weight class, beating everybody other than Formiga then. If he does beat him, then he would cancel that one loss out, I guess. He'd be the best guy to have as a champion. But I do think Benavidez has just got his number. He's going to put a pace on Figueiredo. Figueiredo likes to sit and wait. You know, he's like Wilder. Actually, we just saw this with Fury and Wilder. We just saw it. The big power punchers, they're snipers. They like to wait. They like to punch on their own accord. Like, I'll punch with my big power shot, but this is going to be under my terms and conditions. Benavidez ain't going to allow that to happen. I feel like Benavidez might even take some inspiration from Fury versus Wilder rematch and go forward against Figueiredo, make him use up that sniper rifle, and eventually he's going to be out of ammo. Because if he uses the sniper rifle, he could think to himself, what am I saying here? Either way, I feel like there's only so many times Figueiredo is able to launch that right hand. And a lot of times what you see in his fights, especially with Pantoja, is he would land it and rock Pantoja. But Pantoja would get straight back up and get straight back into the fight. And Figueiredo would have to take a little bit of a breather. And he'd be like, oh, hang on, you're not supposed to be back up yet. Let me just reload this shot real quick. I don't think you have time to reload against Benavidez. You don't. You know, Formiga gassed against Benavidez. And Figueiredo gassed against Formiga. Different levels is what I'm trying to say. In this whole video, you know what I should have said? I should have clicked this fucking video and I should have said, there's levels to this, in Corey Anderson's voice. And I should have fucking ended it and said like and subscribe. Benavidez wins via levels to this. Goodbye. Like and subscribe. Click that button there. See you later. Yeah.